And we are now live. Cool, cool, cool. What's up, everybody? Gonna wait for y'all to join in. Hey, y'all. We're gonna get started in a few seconds. Cool. All right. So what's up, y'all? It's your girl Naisha Stone, the founder of Carving the Stone, your weekly source of positive news. And tonight we are starting something completely different. We're doing a video series, and it's called CNS IG Live, which we're on with positive Black women. We started doing video series back in 2019, and because when COVID hit, honestly, budget cuts and all that types of stuff, we really haven't been able to do video interviews. So I wanted a creative way to kind of get back involved in that. So I decided, why not use Instagram Live? It's free, it's accessible, and people don't have to leave their homes. And again, it's free. And so I kind of wanted to do something a little bit different. I didn't just want to interview people just because they were doing something positive. I wanted a little tweak on it. And that tweak is Black women, because we're great. If you didn't know, I'm a Black woman, and so we're a Black-owned media company. And so I wanted to highlight Black women in a positive light because I feel like a lot of people use our image and our talents, but they don't necessarily always listen to our voices. So this is the series for Black women to shine and, talk about whatever y'all want to talk about. So enough of me. I want to introduce our first guest, Jada Lewis, who is in here. Let me add her on. I'm new to this. Wait for her to get in here. Hey, Jada.
Hi.
You look great. You look great.
Thank you.
I just got on a regular shirt. You all dressed up. I need to do a little better.
All right.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Our audience, this is Jada Lewis. I met her a few weeks ago for American Family Insurance. They threw a tech summit for Black youth, and she was one of the people I actually interviewed. And when I heard her story, I was like, you used to play basketball overseas, and now you're writing a book. I was like, oh yeah, I definitely need to have you a part of this series. So I'm so thankful that you're the first person to be a part of the series. So thank you so much for being here with me. I guess I kind of just want to start off with what you do today. What was your day like today?
What was my day like today? I did a few assignments on my laptop this morning, emails, that sort of thing, and then I spent the day with my mom, so I didn't do much.
Do you have a good relationship with your mom?
Yes, I do. I do.
I love it. I see you're highly involved with your family, which is how you kind of got to your book, Pretty as Me. But we'll get to that soon. As I stated before, she's a basketball player. She still is. She's been playing her whole life. So I kind of wanted to start the conversation off with that. How did you get to the point where you was playing at Georgia State University, then you transferred, then you playing overseas? So if you could just, take us through that journey of what it's like to be, a basketball player.
Yeah, so I started playing basketball when I was like 10 years old. I have three older brothers. I'm the only girl, so I just always did what they did pretty much. And basketball started for me, like I said, when I was 10. And I stuck with it ever since. And I worked hard enough to get a scholarship to go to Georgia State. A funny story about that, I actually did not want to go to Georgia State because I felt like I was bigger than Georgia State. But turns out God knew exactly what he was doing in me going there. And it was like the best thing ever. So I went there, I graduated. I got my degree in journalism, and then I went to Mercer because I wanted to win a championship, and God blessed me to win a championship at Mercer, and I also was able to get my master's degree there. So, and then I was good enough to land a professional contract, and so I went overseas and played, which it was always my dream to play professional basketball. I only wanted to play 1 year because God just always told me that he had bigger plans for me than just being a professional athlete. So I played my 1 year, and now I'm on to doing different, bigger and better things.
for one, you super humble. You just stated some pure facts of like, your accomplishments. You was like, for one, I want to go back to the Georgia State thing. So I went to University of Wisconsin Milwaukee. So it's a white school in Milwaukee. So I thought I was better than that school because I wanted to go to Tennessee State, but I couldn't afford to go there. So I stayed at home, and it ended up being the best thing for me, which is why we're here. So I'm glad that worked out for you too.
It
Now
did.
you got the championship. So you had 13 points during that, and y'all was the 2021 champ. So explain that game. What was that like for you to? Your goal was to transfer and win, and you actually did. So how does that feel for you?
Well, it was the best feeling because I'm used to winning championships, and I say that very humbly. I say that in saying that all the while I was playing basketball, I've won a championship. I won from middle school all the way up. In high school, we won 3 state titles. And then when I got to Georgia State, I went there to change the culture, and I had no idea how hard it is to change a culture. And we fell short in winning a championship, but we did so many other things at Georgia State as a team and as a program. But, I was like, before I'm done in college, I have to get this ring. And so I transferred to Mercer. It was a leap of faith. And the reason why it was so special is because I went into Mercer, and they were 8-23 when I went to Mercer, and people assumed that they had just come off a championship. But me, I'm the type of person, I'm very drawn to challenges. I love a challenge. I think that was just what I was born to take on. And so I was like, you know what, they 8-23, they're right at home in Georgia. I knew they had a great coach in Susie Gardner. I knew they had a great program. And so I took a leap of faith, and we ended up winning a championship. And in that game, it was a great game, great atmosphere. We played a great program at Wofford University, and we actually ended up playing South Carolina, who was this year's national champions. So I was able to see Don Staley, who is a legend in the women's basketball game, and it was amazing.
Man, that's awesome. Back in high school, I never played basketball. People assume I do because how I dress, but I've never played basketball. But I remember I think it was my sophomore year, we went upstate, and the girls and the boys, while we both lose by 3 points, when I say that was the saddest thing in the world to me, I felt like I was on the team. I'm like, we done took buses up there, like, cause I think it was about an hour away from where we was at, and I remember the boys lost by 3 points, and then the girls went up, I think, the next weekend in the exact same thing. But what made it worse is because they were racist to us because we went out, because we in Wisconsin. So Milwaukee, a black city. Anywhere else, it ain't like that. So when we went up there, it was super racist. So I was so mad that they won, but I'm so happy that you won. But that just made me think of that pain that I felt like I was on the team, even though I can't play. But
Yeah.
I love it. So so now that you're not playing basketball professionally, how often do you play basketball now?
I've been on go since, I really got into it, which was probably my junior year when I really started working hard. I would train like 3 times a day. And so I'm really giving my body a rest. I will be like someone that works out every day or 3 times a day. I'm that person now. I haven't worked out yet, but I will get into it. So right now, I'm not as active, but I've given my body a break because I've just been going, since I was young. But as far as what's next, I'll be coaching and teaching at my former high school, and so I'm pretty sure
That's dope.
they'll keep me going and keep me active. So yeah, that's what's next.
Hey, congratulations. That's dope as heck. That's a full circle. See, look, and now the next WNBA star that's gonna be because of you. What you mean? Like, that's dope as heck. I was looking at an interview you did back in 2020, and you were saying how the women's basketball is changing, and you like that it's changing. So could you talk a little bit on that? Like, how has it changed, and what more change do you want to see?
I just would like for women's basketball specifically. I would like to see, more representation, more people watching. But along with that, I think the girls that are in the game, especially WNBA players, they have to be more vocal about the game. They have to step out and do what people don't do. They have to be the ones to really put forth effort to get people to watch and make it interesting again. I go to a few WNBA games, but even as a former player, no offense to WNBA players, it's not, it's just not that interesting right now. And so I just feel like it's going to take more effort than what people are giving right now. And then it's also going to take leaders to go on social media and be vocal about the WNBA, be vocal about women's basketball. But I think it is changing. I really think college basketball specifically is exciting, especially March Madness for women. And they just have to be patient. I just say to all the women players out there to be patient. Our time for basketball will come. It took the NBA years. If you really do the research and know the history, it took the NBA years to get to where they are. And that'll be the same for women. So you just got to be patient and just also be appreciative for the representation that we do have now. So.
No, I love that. I think that was definitely needed to say. So now I'm curious about you playing a year or, overseas. Like what does that look like? Is it how does your routine differ from, being an athlete here in the United States? Is it the same or, what does that look like?
So my experience was unique. So I actually went, like I jumped in the fire my first year going overseas. I knew I only had 1 year. And so jumping in the fire that was my only option. And when I say jump in the fire, so I went into the league, the highest league in Europe. I ended up playing Euro League. So for those who don't know, that's basically the WNBA of Europe. And so my first year, as a rookie, I and it was a struggle in the sense that I was a 23 playing against, people that are 30 and up. They've been in this game, some WNBA players. So it's almost like me being drafted in the WNBA over in Europe. And so it was tough in a sense that it was just all new, just like being a freshman in college again. And it was also tough because it was my first time going out the country. I'm a family, so I'm so far away from my family. But it was definitely necessary. I say it was tough, but it was necessary in my life for me to grow, mature, and just go see the world. It was also a blessing as well because I was able to go to so many different countries over there and experience a new culture that was different from my own, which allowed me to come back to the U.S. and be appreciative of what we have in this country.
What, you was in Sweden, right? Right? Or
I was in Latvia, which is next to Russia.
okay.
With that team, that was the EuroLeague team I initially played for, and we traveled all across Europe. And then I went to a team in Sweden from January to March.
So what were how was the food, not even necessarily the food, but just like the culture, like 'cause honestly being a Black woman, I know you had to stand out a little bit. So like how how was that, like how was that experience for you? Was it mostly good? Like I never been overseas before. Furthest I went was Hawaii, so, and it was pretty cool there. Like how was it culturally, honestly?
Culturally, well, for me, I would say, and for anybody, if you plan on going out of the country to those type of countries, I would say you definitely have to be open-minded in terms of being Black and going over there because it's not many Black people over there. So you are going to have people stare, you are going to have people that look at you weird or they think you speak weird. But it's almost like you have to adjust to them. It's like if they came to our country, we probably look at them the same way. And so it's all about perspective. So for me, I just learned to look at it in a sense, I'm just different to them, they're to that. So I didn't look, it wasn't like a bad thing for me. It was cool. It was a little weird being out eating and people staring, but you get used to it. You don't have a choice if you over there that long. And so that was different, but it was also a learning experience. As far as the food, I'm very picky. My family, I did not want any parts. And people say, try something new. I'm okay. Like, I'll eat some cereal at my apartment. I'll try to cook, even though I can't cook. My oldest brother, he's the cook. He can do all of that. But yeah, when I living off of cereal, and if we had a team meal, that was my day because I didn't have to, it was provided. So food wise, I didn't get too much into their culture or anything like that. And as far as getting out and seeing the different sites, I did that with a few of my teammates, but it was cold in the places that I went to, except Spain was the best. So
I bet. I
if you have
bet.
Spain, anybody on this live, go to Spain. That's the one.
Oh man, that's a plan for me. I want to take this time to all the people. So we got about 12 people watching. Hey y'all. I just want to introduce us again. We've been on here for a few minutes. Naisha Stone of Carving Stone. We're your weekly source of positive news. So if you're not following us, make sure to follow us. We mainly cover the Black community around the world, but we do cover everything. And we have Jada Lewis here with us, our first guest on CNS IG Live with Positive Black Women. For people in the audience, if you have any questions for Jada, please put them in and we'll answer, and she can answer them throughout the live. We'll be on here for a few more minutes. Not a few. We got some more time. So yeah, I kind of want to go back in. No, now we can go back into your author. So she went from being a basketball player, so now she's an author. And I was doing my research as I'm supposed to. And you've always written, so you've always been into reading and writing. You used to read, what is it, Junie B. Jones? I used to read that too. So you started off reading, and I know in one of the interviews you said that you were reading this. You were reading Becoming. So how did you feel? I was like, I got that book and I love this book. So I had to have it right here on hand. I read this, I think last year or maybe, or I don't know. Honestly, I don't know when I read it, but it really changed my life. And I want to write a book about myself. I've been saying that since 13. And I know you kind of feel the same way too. So can you just talk about your journey with writing, and then we'll get into, your book about your niece.
Yes. So I never in my life thought I would write a book. I never had any plans to write a book. But I would always, so really my mom, when it was time for me to be punished, she would tell me to write essays, go to my room, essays. And little did she know, that was really up my alley. Like I would go in there, I would shut the door, and I would just keep writing and probably be off track. And just lose myself in writing, and it just stayed with me as I got older. So when I had to write papers in school, most people are like papers. No, me, I'm like, yes, I don't write anybody else's papers now. I've never accepted money to, write anybody else's paper, because I'm the type of person, when I write something, like I'm giving it my all. So I can't possibly, do the same for somebody else. So when I would do papers in school, it was like the best thing ever. And then during COVID, when we didn't have anything to do, I started working on my memoir, which I'm working on now. Yes, I do have a memoir coming out. It's going to be the biggest thing ever. And so that brings me to my children's book. Do you want me to talk about that?
Yeah. Yes. So we're getting into the main part of the interview, which is Pretty Is Me.
Yes, I actually had a book right here.
Yeah. I was hoping you brought it.
Yeah, so with Pretty Is Me, the story behind that is, so I have a 5-year-old niece. Her name is Drea, and I love her to death, like my best friend. And so I just always wanted her, like, for me, I never had a book I could read, or nobody in a family where I was like, look, we got somebody in a family on the book. And I want that for her. I want her to have her own thing. When she gets older, she'll do her own things and that sort of thing. But really, I want to start a collection for her, which the end goal is for her to have her own cartoon. But it starts with the books. And so I started a collection, and I said, you know what, I'm just going to write a collection about Drea, because I'm always with her for the most part when I was in the country or not playing basketball. And so I would just, watch her move. We would be together, and I was like, I can write a book about her. Like, she's so funny, and she so prissy and girly, all that stuff. And so Pretty As Me came about, the first book. And this actually kind of mirrors our stories. And what I mean by that is, so my niece, if she can't wear a skirt or a dress or something girly, she gives her mom a fit. And it's like the end of the world when she goes to school and she can't put on a dress or a skirt. And so for me, I was the opposite. Like when my mom or anybody, if somebody told me to put on a dress, I'm like, No.
No.
I never felt like I had to wear a dress or a skirt to be pretty. I still had the girly in me, as you can see. But I, I never felt like I needed to wear that to feel feminine or be feminine. And so this story actually mirrors both of our stories in the sense that for some people, the whole message of the story is just you can wear anything and be pretty, right? You can wear your skirt and be pretty. You can wear your dress and be pretty. You can wear, sweatpants and a t-shirt and be pretty. As long as you feel that on the inside of you, then it doesn't matter the clothes that you have on. So that's how her first book came.
I love it. I'm glad you brought that up because I still need to hear that. I'm 25. I'll be 26 in August, and honestly, a big thing I deal with is I love to dress down. Like you said, I got the sweats, I got on my shirts, but a lot of my friends are girly girls. So when we go out, they get talked to more, and so I've always had like this in the back of my head, like am I not pretty enough? And so as I've like gone in my adult years, I had to tell myself like this is who you are. You like dressing like this whether you got on a dress or some sweatpants, like you still pretty either way. And just because a dude ain't hitting on you don't mean nothing. But I'm glad that you wrote this book and you're teaching your niece at that very young age because I wasn't even thinking of my self-esteem was like up and down like throughout my whole life. So like for you to be teaching that confidence in her is awesome. Like if you had a book like this for yourself when you were younger, how do you think that would help you?
Oh man, that would have I didn't really mind, being a tomboy when I was younger because I had three brothers. So it was like, it was like the norm, but it would have definitely probably made me feel more comfortable just being who I was, running around with the guys and playing in the dirt,
Yeah.
and not really, because that's what most moms teach their girls is, you have to, wear the makeup and you have to have purse and you have to have on, just be all prissy, when really you don't. Like, a woman is a woman is a woman, a girl is a girl is a girl, as long as you feel that on the inside of you, which I do. So definitely this book would have helped me as a kid. It would have been great, especially seeing an African American young girl on this book. That's also why I wanted to start this collection, because I just think our youth needs that, and I think it will help them. So I'm excited about the collection. Drea is not going away. This is the beginning of Drea.
Absolutely.
She will be on TV one day. She will be on Netflix.
I love it. No, so how has the support been? So I know you've been getting a lot of support from like your old teammates and like your family, but outside of that, like how has the response been from the community and just even like the kids themselves?
The support has been so great. Like, even when I went to the event where we met, just me getting on a mic, sharing my story, sharing my book, and then people coming up to me after wanting the book, that was just amazing to me, because these were people that I didn't even know. I knew I had a ton of support just from being a professional basketball player and, making connections and also having a family that's so supportive. But to see people support from outside those two communities that I already had, I mean, that's just God, just blessing me in other ways, because this book is reaching so many people besides, my perspective, my community. So I'm thankful for that, and I'm grateful, and I definitely want this whole Drea collection thing to continue to grow, because I think it can help young girls, and I already seeing it helping young girls already. So I'm excited about it.
And adults too, not just young girls, because
Yeah,
not
yeah.
everyone was taught this, so it's definitely needed. How can the community support you, whether that's like buying your book, like reading it to others, but like how can the community support you as a person, a writer, like in whatever, like what ways do you want support or need support?
I would just say continue to follow my socials. I'm doing better with social media, and I'm big about serving other people. I'm big about inspiring other people. It's not so much what people can do for me. I live to do for others. So that's a true answer. So, you know, if you just want to see the ways that I'll continue inspiring the world, I would say definitely follow my social media pages, and you just got to wait and see. You know, I don't think there's a limit for what God is going to do in my life in terms of how I can serve other people. So I'm just
I love that. So I know it's your first book, and I know you're still working on your memoir and the rest of the collection. But how can I mean, not how can like what does success look like for you? Like, do you feel like you're successful now? Is there a certain like amount of books you want to sell? But, like, you know, are you reaching for success? Like, what do you want out of life? I know that's a random question, but I just want to know what do you want?
yeah. So my purpose of life, what does success mean to me is being able to put millions of people, literally millions, thousands to millions of people in position to make their dreams come true. I always say that this life is not about me. So it's not my success. Like, I want to be successful for other people. I want to be an outlet for other people. And it's a heavy crown to wear, but I always say it's a crown that I'm willing to wear, because I just feel like God didn't bless me with all these different gifts that I have for me to only use them for me, if that makes sense. I want to use my voice. I want to use my writing. I want to use, you know, I never dreamed of being a coach or a teacher, but if that's how God wants me to serve for the time being, then so be it. That's what we'll do. So I just really, success for me is using all of my different gifts, talents to serve other people, to help other people, to put people in position to do things they probably never thought they would do, you know. And that'll require a big platform, and I think I'll be on that platform soon on God's timing. So yeah, that's what success will be for me.
I feel like, for one, you already on the platform, and I'm not talking about mine. I feel like you've built your own up already. Like, you have a crowd. If you haven't, take some time and scroll through these comments. People have been praising you, sending you heart emojis. You know, really talking real nice. So I appreciate y'all for coming. It's not over yet. If y'all do have any questions, please put them in the comments. I know. Make sure to order her book, Pretty Is Me. It is on Amazon. Do not forget that. That's the cover. So just type in Pretty Is Me and literally Jada Lewis, and it'll pop right up. So y'all can order it immediately. Support Black owned businesses. She is a Black woman. Support her. I want to go to this journalism degree because a lot of people think I don't have a degree in journalism, but I do. I don't know why, but a lot of people don't. And I hardly ever meet people who actually go to school for journalism and actually get a degree in it. Like, what was your purpose in doing that? Because I know you were playing basketball, but why specifically like journalism? Like, what did you want to do with that?
Yeah. So okay, so if you asked me when I was in middle school, you like, Jada, what do you want to be when you grow up? I said I want to be a professional athlete. I want to play pro. I want to then be a sports commentator, and I'm not sure what that was probably it. Like, be a professional athlete and then be a sports commentator. So that's where that journalism degree came in. But turns out I actually do not want to be a sports commentator. I want to, I want to be a speaker. I wasn't gonna, you know, share that. That was a vision that is so recent. I want to be like a worldwide speaker that travels the world and just shares my story, uses my voice in that way. So I'm not really, I guess you could say I'm not really using my journalism degree as far as an end goal or a dream, but I love to write. You know, I loved to learn about journalism. Getting a degree in itself was fun. It wasn't like, it didn't feel like I was getting a degree and it was like dreadful or stressful. It was just fun. So
I'm glad you said that you're not using it, because when I was teaching my students throughout the years, I would tell them, once you know the basics of journalism, you can do pretty much anything, because it teaches you the basics of writing, how to talk to people, how to get people to talk to you. So now that's perfect. Motivational speaker is so many
yeah,
journalists, reporters turn into, like, look at Oprah. Perfect example. Oprah Winfrey has a degree in journalism, and she completely went, that way with it. But, like, so that makes total sense. And a motivational speaker, I mean, that's what you're doing already now. You just not, I'm just not paying you right now, so I'm lucky. But like literally, all you do is gotta speak it out there, and like you manifesting it as you go. And so I know you know what's gonna happen, but I'm just saying I'm here by your side. You can always use my network, whatever resources I can help you with. I'm more than happy to. But I really do think that you're gonna go far. You've already came so far, and you're 24. I'm 25. Like we got so far to go. So like it's amazing. And I don't know if you know, but you're a role model for people, not just Black little girls, but just for people, the community. Period. You could be doing a whole lot of different things, honestly, with your time, but you're deciding to give back to others, and that's something that a lot of people don't do, especially in this time of day. So I appreciate that because I know what it's like to give your time and I get nothing back. So like, how do you manage being a servant to others, but also making sure that you're taking care of yourself as well? Like, how do you manage that?
I actually, I wouldn't say I manage it well. Just being
Me either.
the type of person to give myself praise or to really sit in my blessing. Like I'm learning to though, because it's important. But yeah, I'm a work in progress when it comes to that because I'm such a giver. Like honestly, that my success is never my own. It's all about who did I help in the process? Who did I inspire in the process? Whose life did I change in the process of my success? So I just say my success is never my own, but I am thankful. I'm not ungrateful. I'm thankful for everything that I've accomplished. Definitely a blessing to be where I'm at and to have done what I've done at my age. But I've not arrived yet. I got a long to go. So many more people to inspire, but like you said, it is success. I should be thankful. I am thankful. And I just don't sit in it. I just keep going, if that makes sense.
No, I understand that because I think I think that's an issue kind of that we have like with our generation because like we always feel like we need to be doing something, and I'm specifically personally speaking for myself, like I may accomplish something, but I'm like, well, I still got to keep going. I can't live in it too much because if I live in it too much, then it's all gonna stop. Like that's a really big fear that I have, like with myself and my business. Like, oh yeah, like we got 20 people watching a live right now, and that's good. But I'm like, what if we had 100? So what do I need to do to make sure that we have 100? But like back then, I couldn't even get one person to join the live, so I should be happy right now, like with the people. But I totally understand what you're going through, and it's nice to hear from another Black woman because I don't know. I just be like keeping a lot of stuff in because I'm supposed to be a businesswoman. I'm a positive person. You got a positive media company, but it can be hard. Being an entrepreneur, having your own ideas. So being an entrepreneur, how has that journey been for you so far?
It's honestly been great. I'm just scratching the surface of what that looks like. I've been playing basketball all my life. I never, like I said, I never thought I would write a book. And ever since I wrote the book, it's like all of these other dreams just started flickering at my head. And so, like you said, like, yeah, I plan to be an entrepreneur. I plan to open up different businesses. God knows doing what, I don't even know yet. But I just definitely want to have my hands on a little bit of everything. Like I'm basically that kid where people say, you can do anything, you can be anything you want to be. I believe people who said that.
For
I
real.
actually believed it. So that I take it and I take that mindset now. I believe that I can, be who I want to be. I believe that I can have 8 different businesses and own so many different properties as a Black woman. I actually believe that. And a big part of that, I would have to say, is my faith. Like I even want to do something in ministry. I don't really know exactly what, but definitely that piece is important to my life too. So, yeah.
That's dope. I was just reading. You got some. I'm telling you, like you getting a lot of praise. So I know you humble, but take it all in. You definitely deserve it. You have talked about God throughout the interview. So can you speak about like your earliest like moments, like whether it was in a church or however you grew up, and how that's impacted impacted you to now?
Yeah, so thank God for my mom and also my aunt. Your birthday, this is off track, but your birthday in August. What day?
August 30th.
You just missed the Leos. I'm just kidding.
Virgo. What are you
My
talking about?
aunt is on this live. My aunt, their birthday is
Yay.
12th. They're Leos. But back to the whole faith thing. So we would go to church every Sunday. Pretty much, we would go to Bible study Wednesday. You know, the traditional church thing. We had that, but we were kids at the time. I knew who God was. You know, I knew the whole gist of it, but I didn't have a relationship with God. And so when I went to college, to Georgia State, I joined something called AIA, and it basically changed my life for the better in terms of me gaining a relationship with God. And it just really, I just live differently in the sense that I put God first in every aspect of my life, and it just makes everything better. So that's kind of my faith walk in like a elevator speech, you know. So basically we did the whole God thing, going to church when we were young. We did everything right in terms of that. But as you get older, I think that your faith journey is something you have to do on your own. You have to seek out on your own. Your parents can't really monitor that anymore. And so I did that in college. I joined a Bible study group. And from then it just went up from there. I ended up going to Mercer, and I started my own group in ministry. And once I did that was when I just realized I can start my own organization, you know. So I just plan to do that in ministry, and we'll see where it goes.
See, you like lose your seat. I'm just letting you know it's already there. Like you already got the visions, and like you said, it's just all with timing. But clearly, you know what you want, and you're gonna go get it no matter what. And I love that. So like, where does that? I'm gonna go get it. I'm gonna go get that shit. Like where, like, cause I got that in me, and I think I get it from my mom. I think I get it from my granny and my mom. But like, where does that? Where does that come from with you? Because you carry it through basketball, through religion. Just through life over in general. So where does that come from?
I would say both of my parents. My dad was always a hard worker, always working. You know, we saw him a lot, but, you know, during the week, we didn't see him because he was working all day. He still works. Um, my dad has, don't be sorry or anything, but he has chronic kidney disease right now, and he still works. Like he wants to live a normal life as possible. He wants to work. And I believe he was working multiple jobs at once. So that's one thing. And then my mom, on the other hand, she's a successful Black woman. I'm not going to put her business out there like that. But and she worked her way up to that. And I would just say also just people in my family, you know, having role models like that, they're all hard workers. They all have a story behind their hard work. Um, and I just took that, you know, I took it with me. That was something that I took from each of them, like the adults in my life and role models in my life. It's just, you know, if you want something, then you make it happen, you go get it. But it doesn't come without hard work. It doesn't come without sacrifice. It doesn't come without trials and tribulations. So it's a grind to get what you want. And like you said, I'm definitely a go-getter. I'm trying to go get now with God, because I usually will take matters into my own hands at any cost to go get what I want. But doing it with God is so much better, I'll say. Um, but yeah, I am a go-getter, and I would say I get it from my parents and the different adults in my life.
I love it. Stand on that topic. What advice would you give to anybody watching, or just a young black girl, black woman, that they want to do a whole bunch in life. They feel like whether they feel like they're stuck, they don't know how to change careers, whatever it may be. Like, but how do they just keep going and accomplish the things that they want to in life? Like, what advice would you give them?
I definitely say you have to do it without fear. Do it
Mm.
without fear and with a whole lot of faith. I know everybody isn't big on faith, so I would just say you have to take risk, you know. Nobody who was ever successful did it because they were timid or because they didn't think they could or because, you know, they felt like they was holding on to something even though their heart was calling them to do something else. So I would definitely say you have to take the leap of faith is really what it is. And also just being able to see yourself in those spotlights, like whatever it is you want to do, I feel like you have to see yourself in it. You have to believe first before anybody else will ever believe that you can do that. And even people that don't believe, at some point you have to show them that you were equipped for that job or show them that you deserve to be in that role. And so I just think, A, taking a leap of faith, and two, believing in yourself. That's important. So
Is there anything that, like, what was like a leap of faith for you? Whether it was like going overseas, like sitting down and writing that first word for the book, but like what was a moment like within like the last like 2-3 years that was like, I've got to do this, and if I don't know. So like, can you think of one of them moments?
yeah, so one off the back of my head, a leap of faith was me transferring from Georgia State, going to Mercer. Going to Georgia State is almost like, I hate to use the word superstar, but that's what it was. It's like when you build these relationships. I built relationships at Georgia State from the president of the university all the way down to the athletic director, and that's uncommon, you know, for you to know people of those ranks throughout the university. I had professors that I still contact to this day. Of course, I had teammates. I had people around the school that I had built relationships with. And I just was, I guess you could say I was pretty significant to the school. And so it was hard because I had to make a decision for myself that I knew would be in my best interest for me to lead a university, even when I had another year left to play basketball there. And so that was definitely a leap of faith for me, because it was almost like my heart was like, okay, it was like telling me to move. But all of those other things was like, no, don't leave. And I'm also loyal. So that was big because I had to let down the guard of loyalty and all those things pulling me back. And I just had to focus on God, take the leap of faith. And Mercer actually turned out to be one of the best things to ever happen to me. Like, besides winning a championship, my biggest prize from Mercer was just how much the team turned around in 1 year, and just how my spirit helped I saw growth in all of the girls on my team, even my coach, just by me having a positive attitude in practice, just by me, you know, really wanting the goal of winning the championship and making sure that we accomplished it. And then also it was a leap of faith going back to my degree, because usually a master's take 2 years, but this is where God came in, and I went to Mercer and I enrolled in a program that I would be able to complete in 1 year. So I didn't think I was going to leave college with a master's, whether I stayed at Georgia State or not. I thought I was only going to have 1 year of my master's paid for, and I ended up having all of my schooling paid for, and I left college with 2 degrees and a championship. So
What's better than that? Come on now, that's dope. I left college with a degree and an LLC. So
that was that's
so dope to you. I love it. I'm gonna ask again. We're gonna end in about like 5 to 8 minutes. If you have any questions for Jada, please put them in the comments. Please, I see everybody in here. I've been loving this. It's been amazing. If you just joining in, again, my name is Naisha Stone. This is Carving Stone. We're your weekly source of positive news. This is our very first episode of our new video series, CNS IG Live with Positive Black Women. Every Thursday at 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, I'll be here interviewing a different Black woman who's doing positive things in the community. Today, we have our very first guest, Jada Lewis, who's been speaking with us, sharing her basketball career, and now she's an author. Make sure y'all go purchase her book, Pretty Is Me. It is a children's book. Pretty Is Me. It is available on Amazon. please, please, please purchase it. We're always talking about supporting each other. This is the perfect time to do that. Make sure to follow both of us at Jada M. Lou. That's Jada Lewis's page. And then at Carving the Stone. Make sure to follow us both. So I want to leave the interview with this. I ask all my interviews, whether it's for a written article, video, or whatever. When people look back on this interview, what do you want them to get from it?
Just if there was anything I said that could push you towards chasing a dream, a goal, then go for it. Like I said before, anytime I do an interview, anytime I speak in front of people, anytime I do things like write a book, my goal is to inspire someone else to get on their feet, or not even get on their feet, just keep going. And if it's not to keep going, to keep doing what you're doing, if you already, in a limelight. And that's what I'm doing here, like you said, what was my goal? That's always my goal. It's just, I'm all for the people being up here. I don't ever want anybody to be down here. I think we all have something to give. I think we all have a gift, and it is up to us to show it to the world. And it doesn't have to be, on a big scale. Even if you show your gift to 10 people, like, that's serving, that's helping somebody else. Everybody is not going to be a celebrity. Everybody is not going to be famous. So I would say just use your gift to inspire the world. We all got a light inside of us, so let it shine. That's my
Not us about to sing on here.
Where can we get the book? Amazon.com.
It's another question here. Jeff 3006 said, how was it playing on a big stage against South Carolina?
Okay. Playing South Carolina was awesome. The atmosphere was amazing, even though it was we went during a COVID year, so it was little to no fans. But it was amazing because, you playing when they just won a national championship. You get to play one of the best teams in the country. And you don't really get that opportunity to play the best of the best like that. So it was just fun, It wasn't about that game for me personally. Of course, you go into every game you want to win, but it wasn't about winning or losing for me. I went into that game and I just said, I'm going to have fun. This could be the last game of my college career, which it was. And I'm just going to, and embrace this moment. I would say that was the one game where I just embraced the moment. Any other game, it was business. And again, not saying it wasn't business, but it was more about just having fun. March Madness is like any other game you ever play in as a college athlete. And then to shake hands with Dawn Staley afterwards, I thought that was amazing too, because it's Dawn Staley. She will go down in a Hall of Fame of the women's game, and it was just great. So
I love it. Any more questions before we're gonna end it? And we got 3 more minutes. So if anybody got any more questions, I don't know if the link worked, but I did pin it. Somebody did post a link to Jada's book, but again, just go to Amazon. Most of y'all have the app. Just go to Amazon.com, and in the search bar, type in "Pretty Is Me," and it should be right there. Jada Lewis. Make sure to order it. Support her, even if you don't want to read it. Buy it for someone else. Who was your toughest opponent in college?
My toughest opponent in college. That's a good one. My brother would probably have to answer that for me. I'm trying to think of all the great players I played against. That's a good question.
Best question of the night?
I would, if I had to choose a player, one of the best defenders I went up against was Destiny Henderson. She plays for the Indiana Fever. She actually was just drafted this year. She was I would say probably the best defender that I went up against in my entire time in college. I would have to give her that hat.
Yeah. See, I'm not the biggest sports person, so I wouldn't even thought to ask you that. So thank you. Someone said, how do you handle failure?
Oh, that was a great question. Oh, that's my man Joe. Shout out to Joe. How do I handle failure? That I'm still learning to do as well, but I've gotten so much better. Um, I would say definitely praying. You know, God is like always Psalm 16:8, my favorite verse. With him at my right hand, I will not be shaken. So now when adversity hits, like I recently just got sick. Didn't plan on getting sick. Nobody ever wants to be sick. But what I tried to do this time is thinking positive thoughts and just telling myself, okay, it happened, so what are you going to do about it? Sometimes when things happen to us, we kind of sit in the failure. And me personally, I'm trying to learn not to sit in the failure and just trust God. You know, it happened for a reason, and just trying to figure out why it happened, why that failure happened, and then using it to my advantage. Like, I failed so many times in my life. I've had so many people, you know, tell me that I wasn't going to be a pro, for one. So also to answer that, instead of giving like the cute answer of being positive, I also, I use it in my mind. Like, I use it in a sense where I say, it's just going to motivate me. Like, everything you telling me I can't do or won't do, like, I'm going to show you that I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it 10 times better, you know, than you probably thought I would. But a way that I've changed that, instead of trying to prove myself to other people, you know, I prove myself right and what I always know that I can do. And so it's just like me competing against me in this life, basically. And when failure comes, being positive, taking it, acknowledging the failure, because you have to acknowledge it. Nobody's ever strong enough to not acknowledge it and just say, you know, so what, shrug it off. So acknowledging it, and then what am I going to do about it? So that's how I process failure.
No, that's deep, and I appreciate you for saying that, because people look at you and they're like, oh, well, she made it overseas, like, and all this, like, like, how did she do that? Like, it takes a lot of dedication, hard work, consistency, and a lot of failure, like, in order to be successful, you have to fail, because you don't know what that means. And so I appreciate you for sharing that. I really do. Like, that's deep.
Yeah, I don't look at my social media or anything I've done and think that behind it wasn't brokenness, sacrifice. You know, nobody who's ever successful,
Nobody.
they were, even if you're born into success, you know, it's still, life hits you however it wants to. And I'm not
Mm.
in details because I have a memoir coming out, and you know, I don't want to spill the details.
Save it when
I'm
you're ready to
safe,
tell your story.
but you know, in general, I don't ever want people to look at me and just feel like I have it all together, or that I didn't go through anything to get there, even at a young age. You know, my family has been through a lot in itself for me to learn and experience that with them, for me to have gone through it too, and then even my own life experiences. So everything that I have, that I've done, that I've accomplished, it did not come easy, I'll say.
And that's why you're so blessed. So just keep it up. I love it. I'm gonna take this one last question, unless anybody else has one more. How was it playing against former teammates?
It was fun. I playing against former teammate I remember playing against is Q out the back of my head, because we would always play Georgia. But it was fun. You know, I mean, not friends on the court, but I don't really go by that. You know, if this my former teammate and, like, you know, she fall or something, like, I'm the person that's gonna help her up, or we talking, like, we find ways to talk on the low, you know, during a free throw or something like that. So I'm that type of friend or former teammate on the court, but it's always fun. It's always fun.
I love it. Well, I appreciate everyone being here. We'll be back again Thursday with a Milwaukee chairwoman. Same time. Jada Lewis, is there anything, one last thing that you want to say before we end this live?
I just want to thank everybody who came on, even those who came and left. Just thank y'all for joining the live. Thank y'all for listening to me and my story a little bit. Again, go get that book. We got some more coming. This is not the end of Drea. And just be on the lookout because I'm coming for the world in the most positive way possible.
Yeah, I love it. And again, Naisha Stone, Carving Stone, we are your weekly source of positive news. We cover articles, we give away scholarships, and now we're doing this new video series, CNS IG Live with Positive Black Women. Thank you all for joining, and make sure to hit that follow button, and I'll see y'all here next week. Make sure to buy Pretty As Me on Amazon by Jada Lewis, and y'all go enjoy the finals game. See y'all.
See you.